Hello, welcome back to the Greater You. Good to see you all today. So today we've got one of my beloved topics. This is growth mindset. This is kind of one of the backbones of creating a truly, growth-oriented life, happier life, more healthy life overall. In fact, to kind of start this, Dr. Laurie Santos, one of the great researchers in the positive psychology and happiness industry, she's said, quite frankly, that the growth mindset is the correct mindset. That's what our current data is saying and suggesting. Totally agree with that. So the growth mindset is huge. What is it? So growth mindset is the opposite of kind of a failure mindset. What it isn't is pessimism. What it is not is failureism. What growth mindset is it's observing the challenges and the difficulties we have in life as opportunities to learn, grow, and improve. So fundamentally at our core, when we're working with growth mindset, we're changing the way we view failure. We view mistakes, failures, setbacks as opportunities to learn and grow. In fact, you might even view them as data points. What is this experience that I had if I, failed to get, I don't know, an assignment in on time, if I'm a college student or something? What does that experience inform me about my study practices, timeliness, personal organizational skills? So growth mindset would look at that as a less emotional experience, and we'll look at it as a little bit more of a data-driven experience of like, hey, what can I do to tweak my schedule to make sure I have enough time to get the assignment done? If I'm hanging out with friends and they're like, hey, just one more round of whatever video game, but you've got that project to finish and it's kind of pinging on your calendar, a growth mindset person will be like, hey, you know what? I really value getting my homework in on time, so we'll have to catch up later and we'll hang out later, right? So growth mindset uses those opportunities where we've made mistakes to learn, grow, and adapt and change. Growth mindset tends to embrace change as an inevitable reality of the function and process of life. So as you're fostering growth mindset, you want to do that as well and embrace change as part of the thing you're going to do. It's part of just the life process, right? And those changes can become positive or they can be negative. Growth mindset will work kind of like the gap and gain thinking. Growth mindset will work to try and make even those, challenging changes, maybe that come with age or health related challenges. We'll try and find ways to leverage that to grow as an individual. For instance, if you're an individual dealing with some sort of chronic pain issue or chronic illness, and you're really struggling with that, growth mindset would say, well, what compassion can I develop for other people that have, it equally as bad as I do, or difficult as I do, or even worse off? Now, as a person who's dealing with that difficulty, you can have greater compassion. That's growth, right? So thinking about growth mindset is pretty all-encompassing, and it can show up in any of our endeavors and any of the things we engage in life. So here are 4 key strategies that you can work with now that we've kind of established what growth mindset is and what it isn't. So 4 things that can help you develop your own growth mindset. Number 1, as you can see here, is to embrace challenges. View challenges as opportunities for growth and learning rather than obstacles to be avoided. Taking an avoidant approach to life stymies our growth. That doesn't mean that I'm not suggesting taking unnecessary risks, but definitely taking measured and thoughtful risks and challenges into our lives will foster growth, right? If you've been holding back on, if there's some, like you wanted to try yoga and you've been like, I don't know, like, will people think I look funny if I'm not doing the poses right? Embracing that challenge and changing your self-talk around it and getting into that first and second and third yoga class is going to help you embrace that challenge and give you an opportunity to grow your own fitness, balance, and mindfulness. Number 2 is to face failure head on. recognizing that failure is a natural part of the learning process, somewhat like we've talked about already. Instead of letting failures define you, that's a key difference here. See them as valuable lessons and stepping stones to future success, right? There's a thing we say in our martial arts school. I've been in martial arts most of my life, so you're going to always hear me referencing some of this stuff. There's this kind of buzz around, hey, what's the difference between a black belt in martial arts versus a white belt? And really, whether it's in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or Japanese karate or whatever art you do, that white belt and that black belt, the main difference is that that black belt has experienced more failures than the white belt has even tried. So think about that, right? A beginner at a yoga class has not, tipped over when trying to do a balance pose nearly as often as the instructor in the class has when they were learning, because they put in the time and the effort and had their failures and their mistakes along the way. And that helped them grow and develop better balance and better capacity to hold those poses longer and deeper and straighter and more effectively. So work to face your failures head on and let them be opportunities for growth. Your failures do not define you as a person. They are an opportunity to become a better version of yourself. Number 3 is very interesting. Seek feedback and learn from others. Don't be afraid to ask for feedback, even if that feedback stings, guys. Surround yourself with mentors, role models, and supportive networks of people. Learn from their experiences and apply their own wisdom to your journey. We all need feedback, right? Nobody likes those performance reviews, right? But they're feedback, right? Take them for what they are. It can feel a little dry and a little corporate. But if you can change your mindset about it, it's like, hey, here's an opportunity for me to learn about what I'm doing well and areas that I can improve upon. And it's going to show your boss or whatever some real proactivity if you approach them and say, hey, I noticed I got a 3 instead of a 4 on this area of, customer communication. What's some feedback you can give me that would help improve my customer communication? So you think that, that will boost me up to getting a 4 next time we do a review, and ultimately that would benefit our company. Seeking that feedback is going to give you feedback. Be ready to swallow your pride and ego and take the feedback and make some changes. Then you're going to grow, right? That goes for me especially, right? Give me feedback on these videos. If I'm sucking at something, tell me and I'll work at fixing it. And I know we're going to need to improve our audio and visual. We're working at that as the channel builds and grows. So I'm always open to feedback. Number 4 is to stay curious and hungry for knowledge. This is a huge part of keeping your growth mindset going and keeping your mind open, developing a thirst for continuous learning, being curious, inquisitive, exploring new subjects, ideas, and perspectives, especially perspectives. Never stop expanding your horizons. If you get a curious idea, jot it down. If you're in the middle of something and you can't do anything about it, make a mental note, then write a physical note and circle back to it and go and do some research, diving down rabbit holes. Now, when we're diving into these rabbit holes to get more knowledge, try and find the most reputable sources. TikTok is not necessarily going to be the most reputable place unless they're citing the studies that then you can go find. So that's an important piece of being hungry for knowledge, is not necessarily just taking everyone's opinion as knowledge. For instance, this stuff on growth mindset, you can go to Google Scholar and you can look up scholarly articles that we've found and that do exist and that have been reputable studies for, showing that growth mindset is absolutely, first of all, recommended, and second of all, obtainable, and third of all, really the correct mindset. There is data out there to be found on this. I get into it all the time. Our goal at The Greater You, since we use so much positive psychology, is to share ideas that really are reputable and can be backed with literature. Now, when you do get Eastern philosophy, which you're going to hear some of that from us, when we share stuff like from Lao Tzu and all that stuff, those things you're going to have to come at it differently and kind of do your own homework on figuring out the reputable nature of those things, but be hungry and curious about that too. Crack open, the Tao Te Ching and take a look at it yourself and see what of those things apply for you, right? Do that with anything that we share, whether it's about growth mindset or anything else. And certainly, we always try and be as legit as possible, sharing stuff that we've seen that works, not only from our own professional experience, but we see in literature reviews where it's possible, right? Certain things are just not testable beyond your own experience, but that doesn't invalidate them as things that you shouldn't seek out, especially in the realms of your own spiritual development or philosophical development. How do you really test Nietzsche? How do you really test Marcus Aurelius? How do you test Socrates? Those are going to be challenging things to make into studies, but you can certainly lean into those things and try applying some of those pieces of the philosophies that make sense to you into your life and see if it improves on your well-being, right? So you can always use an individual scientific method to make it so that your curiosity and hunger for new knowledge can translate into something actionable and workable for you that improves on your life, right? So those are 4 concepts that we'd like you to think about. We'd love to hear your comments on this video. If you've liked this video, like it and follow us if you will. Subscribe to the channel, turn on the alarm, all those things that you need to do to keep current with our information that we're giving you. But then, of course, like I'm saying, give us feedback. We'd love to know what you think we can improve upon here at The Greater You. Our goal is to improve upon our lives and your lives and ultimately help you become the best you can be. So good to talk to you today, and we'll talk to you soon with future videos. Take care.